Back in to monitor this morning only because I was on the families list, but things are a little less tense than yesterday. There were more people allowed into the public gallery. The judge banned devices about halfway through, saying that mobile phone use was distracting in the public gallery. Right. Okay. So we began to hear the defense's response to the prosecution's arguments from yesterday. So a lot of the substance so far has focused on explaining exactly how mental health works, how depression works, right? Because of the things that were willfully misinterpreted yesterday by the prosecution, explaining that how if Julian Assange is extradited, he loses access to his family, to his support system here, that this risk of suicide is not contingent only on special administrative procedures or his specific place of detention, but related to the conditions itself, and that would exacerbate the mental health issues that he currently suffers, and that he would be very likely to act on that impulse. So another difficult warning, because this is difficult substance matter, right? So we do continue to express concern about Julian Assange's mental health. This is one reason that we've always called for his release, but as you guys know, we also believe that he shouldn't be detained at all. So he's been targeted for his contributions to journalism. Nobody should be facing this for publishing information in the public interest. So we'll be back this afternoon, and I'll say a bit more at the end of the day.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Next up, we're going to hear from Kristin, who's the editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks.
It was extraordinary this morning to notice that Julian's lawyers had to spend a lot of time and effort in countering the extraordinary attacks by the US lawyers on Barrecher and her reliance on the expert witness of a distinguished professor in this country, a neuropsychiatrist who analyzed or interviewed Julian and came to the decision that he was in no condition to be extradited. They are hanging on small threads, which tells us how thin this case is. They were arguing that because the Professor Koppelman, did leave out in his preliminary report the fact that Julian had Stella as a partner and 2 children, that he was unreliable. The preliminary report was handed to the court, I think 10 months before he handed his final report with a full disclosure. So that goes to show how thin the case is. And why did the professor leave out the name of Stella? He explained it himself. It wasn't because Julian asked for it or Stella, because he felt for her safety. And why what was he considered about her safety and the children? Yes, because the information was becoming noted. We were actually having information out about the extraordinary measures that were being taken against Julian inside the embassy, and indeed against Stella and the children, by stealing the nappy, by spying on all activity inside the Ecuadorian embassy, about the plots to poison Julian, about the plots to kidnap him. So that all was brought forth by Julian's lawyers this morning, as well as countering this extraordinary attempt by the US lawyers to have the Professor Koppelman's testimony thrown out, which would be absurd. But at the end of the day, let's not forget what this is all about. Why are we here? This is a political persecution of a journalist who exposed war crimes and the secrets of the United States. We are here because a journalist is being prosecuted for doing his job. The true crime is journalism. This must end. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristin. And I think this morning was definitely one of those moments when the old adage that a lie can circle a world while the truth is still getting to its feet was on evidence in the court. And you have to remember this: it takes so long for Julian's defense lawyers to unpick the half-truths, semi-truths and complete lies that are told here, not just because of what's said in court, but because of what's said outside of court, in the press and in public opinion. So every journalist here, every citizen here has a part to play in making sure that when the defence lawyers get in court, the truth is established as the context of this court case, not lies. And they're going to call on Stella Morris, Julian's partner, to tell you her thoughts.
Hi everyone. Yes, this morning we were able to counter all of the lies that the US presented yesterday. These lies are there to distract, to take up time, and to reduce our ability or our time to respond and draw attention to the issues that matter, to the true nature of the political persecution in this case, which is being furthered through the UK courts. We were able to go through the timeline of events since Julian's arrest, or even before that, how he had been spied on in the embassy. His lawyers had been targeted by name. The Spanish lawyer's office was broken into. His lawyer's notes were seized and copied. Our eldest son's DNA was instructed to be stolen. My mother was followed. I was followed. Julian was spied on in every little detail. And we knew this almost as soon as Julian was arrested, because whistleblowers who had been working in these illegal operations couldn't live with themselves, and they went to the press and they went to the Spanish police and they said that they had taken part in these illegal operations against Julian. And that started coming out in 2019, and it is in that context that the medical expert was concerned for my safety, because at the same time the Spanish courts had evidence that there were discussions of poisoning Julian and kidnapping him from the embassy. Now, just a few weeks ago, we learned that on the other side of the Atlantic, at CIA headquarters, these operations were being planned under the directorship of Mike Pompeo. We have an extraordinary situation where we have evidence of the people who are carrying out the operations in this Spanish company in the embassy, and we have the people who were planning these operations, including planning to assassinate Julian, planning to kidnap him, planning to rendition him, planning shootouts in CIA headquarters in Virginia, just a few miles from where the court is, where Julian would be tried if he were to be extradited. The US wants to take Julian to the Eastern District of Virginia, to an area that is full of security contractors, where the CIA is based, where you can expect what the jury will look like. To extradite Julian would certainly mean that he would be convicted of journalism under the Espionage Act. This case is just about journalism. It's just about the persecution of a journalist. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. So this afternoon will be the concluding afternoon of the appeal hearing. Julian's lawyers will be on their feet for most of the afternoon, continuing the argument they put this morning, but for the final half an hour of this afternoon's hearing. It will be back to James Lewis and the prosecution to reply to the arguments that the defence is putting. So we'll be back here at 4:30 after the hearing closes, and we'll be interpreting and explaining how we see the afternoon's events unfolding. See you later.